Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to walk you through exactly the type of call process I use to take a person from like LinkedIn Messenger to actually closing the deal. I'm not going to be covering actual sales and sales techniques in this video, but what I will be covering is the process which happens after you've actually been speaking to someone over LinkedIn, they've become a lead, and what you do next. And this has worked for me again and again and again because this process has a lot of psychology in it. It's helped me close, do 5 figures in a month. It's helped me do 5 figures in a day. It's helped me get through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads because, like I say, there's some psychology involved. And once you understand it, if you watch to the end of this video, then you'll be able to implement it yourself. So let's get straight into it. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. So we're in a situation now where we're speaking to someone over LinkedIn Messenger. The conversation's going quite well. You think that they actually might be interested in your service, your coaching, your product, etc. And the next step is to actually invite them to a call. Now, most people make a mistake here, a big mistake, which actually results in like 90% of calls not actually being booked with them. And the mistake is they either say, hey, person I've just met, do you want to do a 45-minute strategy session with me? Or they say, hey, person I've just met, shall we jump on a call? Both of these approaches are wrong, and here's why it's wrong. If you're cold DMing people and you have just met someone, they are not likely to want to have a massively long conversation with you. What I've found throughout booking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls, what's a better approach is to actually invite a person to a 15-minute call first as an icebreaker. And when you reach out to them over chat and you're going to make the call offer, you actually want to tell them, hey, are you available for a quick 10 to 15 minute chat? Because everyone in the world is free for a quick 10 to 15 minute chat. If you phrase it in this way, it gets through those barriers of the prospect's mind where they're thinking, oh, I hope I'm not stuck in conversation for ages. What happens if this person's weird and I want to get off the phone? What do? Just hang up? If you're already setting the time constraint ahead of their worries, it instantly helps relieve those worries. So always be thinking about your call structure in terms of like, what is the prospect thinking right now? How can I make sure the prospect, the person at the other end of the computer, is actually feeling at ease, is actually feeling, happy with the conversation so far, is actually feeling trust. And a great place to do this is to do the 15-minute call. So we have now not made the mistake of, asking for a long call. We've not made the mistake of actually just asking for a call of any random duration. And their worry is settled about, oh, I hope this person doesn't keep me a long time. Sure, I've got 10 to 15 minutes. Everyone has 10 to 15 minutes. It's a small foot in door, so it's a bit of like, almost helps break the ice. Now, when they agree to the 15-minute discovery call, you make sure you book the discovery call within 3 to 4 days of the conversation you're having in LinkedIn Messenger. This is something that no one will tell you, but this is actually a result of me basically prospecting for hours and hours and hours and really getting in the weeds on this thing and basically doing my 10,000 hours, of mastery of prospecting. If you book a person beyond 4 days, like from the time you're speaking to them to the time of the call, they will most likely not show up to the call. In fact, 90% of people who book out of the 4-day period don't show up to the call. If you book them within 4 days, the 15-minute call within 4 days of actually messaging them on LinkedIn, they will most likely show up to the call. Why is this the case, I hear you ask? Well, we have a few theories, but here's one very important one. If a person really, really, really does not have 50 minutes over the next 4 days to have a call with you, then their painful problem that you're going to help solve with your solution isn't actually painful enough. It really isn't painful enough. or they really have no time, in which case they won't make a great client anyway. So they almost disqualify themselves. So if you've got Calendly, if you've got Schedule Ones, whatever your calendar system looks like, make sure you set it for 4 days. Don't set it any longer than that, because you think, oh, I'm helping these people with more availability. But what you're basically doing is saying to the person, I don't care how qualified you are. I just want you to book a call. It comes off as kind of like needy. People see your calendar is massively open. And as well, you don't want to be taking a call unless it's like special circumstances, like you know the person from a person, it's a referral, or maybe a previous client, or it's an actual client and you need to talk to them about something. Schedule whenever you want. But what we've found is that if you book the call beyond 4 days, 90% of people don't turn up. They forget, even though I send them reminder messages. They just become not interested. And there's that old theory in sales that the iron goes cold over time, and you need to sell to a person when the iron is actually hot. So essentially, in this 15-minute call, we're going to be building a little bit of trust with them, a little bit of rapport as well. We're also, most importantly, going to be qualifying them. It's better to find out on this call right now whether this person's potentially a fit for your service, or they simply cannot afford it, right? On the 15-minute call, so your time's not completely wasted. If you get to the end of a 45-minute call, not only 45-minute calls are draining and, selling for an entire time, you got 4 45-minute calls in a day, you're like, by the end of it, because you've got a business to run, what you're actually going to find is that you're going to save yourself a bunch of time, a bunch of energy, and ultimately money, because you're qualifying these people first, getting them out of the way, right? If they sound like they're qualified on that 15-minute call, you take them to the 45-minute call to actually find out deeper about the situation, truly find out what the problems are, truly find out like where they want to get to, and see if your solution's an actual real good fit for them. That is if you are cold outreaching to people. If you have a warm inbound lead, feel free to disregard the 15-minute discovery call step and just go straight for the longer call. And the reason why is a person who's an inbound lead and has watched your content and has seen, a little bit of you, knows what you're about, they no doubt have found your content, they've found your videos, they've found your testimonials, they've looked through all of this. And by the time they've messaged you, they're already decided on you. They already know your solution is a potential fit for them, so we don't need to qualify them too much, really. Secondly, they most likely already trust you, already have rapport, a certain amount of rapport built up because you served them impressions through basically like content and things like that. So disregard that entire 15-minute call step if it's an inbound lead. If it's an outbound lead, you need to put the 15-minute call step in there because you need trust, you need to qualify them as well. And we need to make sure we're booking these calls as quickly as possible. The gap between the 15-minute call and the 45-minute strategy session also needs to be quite short as well, because again, the iron can actually go cold and things can come up in this person's life. Suddenly the problem's not a priority. They start focusing on something else. You need to strike while the iron's hot. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment below if you're stuck with any other problems, lead generation, sales, whatnot. I'll do my best to help you, and see you in the next one. Take care.